Someone is devastated right now. Not you, them. And I need you to really sit with that for a second. Because I know you came here maybe thinking this was going to be about you being sad, or you being lost, or you trying to figure out where your life went sideways. But that's not what this is. This is about the fact that somewhere, right now, someone who thought they had you all figured out is sitting in a very uncomfortable place. Confused, embarrassed, and honestly, shaken. Yes, because you didn't go the way they planned. You didn't shrink, you didn't fall, you didn't back. You didn't come crawling back. You did the exact opposite of everything they set up for you to do. And that broke something in their world. Not yours, theirs. So stay right here, because what I'm about to tell you goes way deeper than just you're doing great. There is a whole story happening behind the scenes that you didn't and you don't even fully know yet. And by the end of this, you are going to understand exactly what's been going on, why it matters, and why your glow up is hitting somebody harder than a freight train at 2 in the morning. Let me paint you a specific picture, because this isn't a vague. There was a plan, a calculated, deliberate, thought out plan, and it wasn't a small one. Someone in your life, maybe still in it, or maybe just recently out of it, decided they needed you closer. Not close in the warm, beautiful, I genuinely care about you kind of way. No, closer in the way that someone keeps a hand on something they are afraid of losing control of. They wanted you in reach. They wanted you in their orbit where they could see you, manage you, maybe compare themselves to you, and come out feeling better. And the strategy they chose, whatever form it took, was designed to make you feel less than, smaller. Like maybe you had something to prove. Like maybe without them you'd fall apart. They thought if they chipped away at you enough, you'd stay, you'd need them, you'd come back. That was the whole game. They were, in every sense of the word, ash witchers. Imagine them standing around a pit, rubbing their hands together, waiting for your fire to go out so they could sift through the gray, cold remnants of you. They had already prepared their pity speeches, or worse, their quiet celebrations. They were so ready for you to crash and burn, but while they were staring at the ground looking for your remains, you didn't just spark. You became the phoenix. Yeah, the phoenix. You are flying 30,000 feet above their heads, glowing brighter than ever. They are devastated because they are still holding the cold ash of who you used to be, while you are the sun they can't even look at without squinting. And here is where it gets devastating for them, not you. You left, or you grew, or maybe both at the same time. You did the thing they never calculated into their little plan. You thrived, And I don't mean thrived in a motivational poster, slap a quote on it kind of way. I mean something real shifted in you, something they can see now, every time they catch a glimpse of your life. The way you carry yourself, the way you walk into a room, the way you look, the way you speak, the way your energy lands on people. You are radiating something that they specifically tried to dim. And instead of going dim, you went full, blinding, eye-dropping, heads turning bright. They wanted a front row seat to your downfall, but they ended up watching your highlight reel, and it's driving them crazy that they lost the power to ruin your day. They checked in to see if you were struggling, and honestly, the glow up hit them like a freight train, because you are not just fine, you are thriving at a level they can't even process. They didn't account for that. And now they are standing there, metaphorically, in the middle of a desert, nothing around them, or wind blowing, going, okay, well, what now? Because the plan didn't just fail. It backfired so hard that it produced the exact thing they were trying to prevent. You getting better. You getting freer. You choosing yourself so completely that the space where they used to take up real estate in your head, it's been renovated, redecorated, closed off to the old energy entirely. The silence from your side isn't because you are sad. No, it's because you are busy building the empire. They are looking for the old, lost version of you, but that person doesn't live here anymore. Doesn't live here anymore. Here's something I want you to understand, and I want you to really feel this, not just hear it. The insecurity that someone is feeling right now about you didn't start when you started doing well. It was there before. It was always there. It was the whole reason they came up with the plan in the first place. Think about it. You don't try to control someone you are not threatened by. No. You don't work the hard to make someone feel small unless their size scares you. No. The fact that they cooked up this whole elaborate scheme to keep you close, to manage your self-image, to put doubts in your mind, that's the evidence that they saw something in you that they didn't see in themselves. And that gap made them desperate. Really desperate. You were already the threat before you even knew you were. You were already too much before you even started becoming more. You stopped playing the victim role. They scripted for you, and that's what they cannot forgive. And now they are watching the thing they feared most just unfold in real time. They are devastated because their opinion of you no longer carries any weight. Let me get even more specific, because this is where it gets uncomfortable in the best possible way. Think about the last time someone in your life made a commitment. Could have been subtle, could have been direct, about what you couldn't do, what you wouldn't be, what you'd probably end up as. Maybe it was about money, Maybe it was about your appearance. Maybe it was about your potential, your relationships, your lifestyle, your choices. Whatever it was. They said it with a kind of certainty that was supposed to land in you like a seed and grow into doubt. And for a minute, 1 minute, maybe it did, maybe you felt it, maybe you even started to believe a little bit of it. That's human, yeah, that's not weakness. That's just what happens when someone you are close to or someone you once trusted says something to you with enough conviction. But here is what happened they didn't plan for. You went to the gym anyway, not even necessarily the literal gym. I mean, you took the thing they said was going to keep you down and you did the work. You got fit, you got focused, you got free. And now every single assumption they made out loud in front of the other people is sitting there exposed, proving wrong. And the people who were in the room when they said it, they remember. And now they are all looking at the person who made those assumptions like, okay, so what exactly was that about? While they were counting you out, you were making yourself count. You didn't just move on. You leveled up so hard. You're unrecognizable. That's a specific kind of devastation. That's not just disappointment. That's public embarrassment of their own making. They put their food in their mouth and the whole room watched it happen. And now they are paranoid, looking around, wondering what people think, wondering if they look like a liar, wondering if they look crazy even. And the wildest part, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You just showed up, you just lived, you just became more of who you actually are. And the contrast between who they said you'd be and who you actually are turned out to be made their words look ridiculous. Yeah, it's not revenge. It's just the natural result of choosing yourself. Now, here is the part I really need you to understand, because this is where it shifts from feeling good to feeling grounded. There are people around you right now, and I mean right now in your actual life, who did not think you were going to make it. Not all of them were malicious. Some of them just genuinely underestimated you. They looked at where you were, maybe a rough patch, maybe a slow season, maybe a hard year, and they made a judgment call that this was the ceiling, that this was your story. They filed you away in a little category in their mind, like that person who is struggling, or that person who never quite gets it together, or that person who always has potential but. Okay. And they closed the file. And then you walked into a room. Maybe it was a party, maybe it was some kind of event, maybe it was something casual, and everything they had filed away about you just didn't match what was standing in front of them. You were present, you were clean, you were dressed like you understood your worth, You moved like someone who'd made peace with themselves. And people noticed. They always. Not just the people who had doubts about you. Everybody noticed. Heads turned, conversations passed, eyes followed you across the room in the way that people try to do sadly, but completely fail at. And the people who had written you off were standing there recalculating everything in real time, visibly uncomfortable, trying to figure out how to reconcile the story they told about you with the person they were looking at. You know, your happiness is the one thing they didn't see coming, and your presence is vibrating on a frequency they cannot even turn into. That is what heads drop, eyes go to the floor actually means in real time, in real life. Not because you are dramatic, not because you walked in trying to prove something. No, but because the version of you that showed up was so different from the version they thought they knew, that it created a kind of cognitive dissonance they were not prepared for. You didn't have to say a word. You just existed fully in that space, and it did all the talking. And that's what's been happening, maybe without you even realizing it. You have been walking into new spaces, new jobs, new social circles, new environments, new opportunities, and you are triggering people who don't even know you that well, because there is something about your energy right now that reads as this person has already done the work. And that's either deeply inspiring to some people or deeply uncomfortable to others, depending on where they are in their own journey. The ones who are doing the work, they are drawn to you. They want to be around that energy. The ones who haven't started or who decided a long time ago that the work wasn't worth it. You walking in looking like proof that it is. That's a lot to process. I want to talk about something that's been going on behind the scenes, something you might not have been fully aware of. While you've been out here growing, someone has been talking, not to you, about you. There were conversations, there were predictions made with confidence. There were people who co-signed the narrative that you were going to be one thing, and they were very comfortable in that prediction because it made them feel secure, comfortable. If you stayed exactly where they expected, everything felt ordered. Everything felt noble. Everything felt like they had a handle on reality. You were the constant they could point to and feel bad about their own position. And then you became a variable. And variables are terrifying to people who build their whole sense of self around certainty. They kept pushing. By the way, that's the thing. Whatever this person or these people were doing, the subtle jabs, the comparison, the undermining, the doubt planting, They kept escalating it, kept testing to see how far they could go before you finally broke, finally came crawling back, or finally gave them what they wanted. They were running an experiment with you as the subject. And they were so confident in the outcome that they announced the results before the experiment was even done. And then you flipped the data. And now they are sitting there, staring at results that made no sense in the framework they built. They wanted you to be a lesson, a tale they could whisper about. But you became the blueprint. Here's what I love about this, and here is the part where I want you to actually feel something good. You taught them a lesson they didn't sign up for. You became a walking example of what's possible when someone decides not to stay in the box that was built for them. Not as a protest, not as a performance, not even necessarily on purpose, but just by choosing yourself over and over again in the quiet moments when nobody was watching, and it would have been so easy to fold. You were in those moments. The Sunday mornings when the desire to want something more flickered in your chest before you were fully aware. The days when the doubt crept in and you didn't the thing away anyway. The times you got dressed and showed up even when part of you felt invisible. Those moments accumulated. Those choices compounded. And now the interest is paying out in ways that are shocking people. And here's what's wild also. Other people are learning lessons from your life that you didn't even know you were teaching. People who were in the room when someone talked about you. People who went witness to the assumptions. People who maybe even nodded alone at the time because they didn't know better. Those people are recalibrating their whole understanding of what's possible. They are seeing you and thinking, I need to be more careful about what I say about people. I need to be more careful about what I decide is someone's ceiling. Because, look, you became the story someone tells when they are trying to remind themselves not to count people out. That's huge. Let me bring this all the way home, because I don't want you to leave here just feeling good. I want you to leave here understanding something important about this season you are in. This is not the time to dim yourself down out of consideration for people who are uncomfortable with how bright you've gotten. And I know that impulse exists in you. I know it does. Because you are someone who's probably spent a lot of time being aware of how you affect people. Being careful not to take up too much space. Being thoughtful about not making others feel bad. And that quality in you is real and it's good. It's really good. But right now, in this particular season, this impulse to shrink for other people's comfort is the thing you need to watch. Because the sun doesn't stop shining because someone forgot their sunglasses. The sun doesn't dim itself because someone's on the beach and it's bright. We accommodate the sun. Yeah, we bring the umbrella, the sunscreen, the shade. The sun just shines. And right now, you are the sun. You are the energy in this equation that other people need to adjust to, not the other way around. You are not doing too much. In fact, if anything, you might not be doing enough. You might still be operating at 60, 70% of what you are actually capable of, because somewhere in the back of your mind, there is still this residue, this leftover idea that going full out is somehow arrogant or risky or going to make someone feel bad. Let that go, because the version of you that goes all the way, that shows up completely, that brings everything, that version doesn't actually hurt anyone who's genuinely for you. It just makes everyone who isn't very, very obvious. And honestly, that's a gift. That's information you need. The plan was never for you to win. The plan was for you to cooperate with the version of you that someone else had decided you should be. Stay in the clown suit. Show up on the stage they built. Play the role they wrote for you. And you didn't. You looked at that suit and you set it down and you walked out. And when you walked out, the whole circus collapsed. Not because you did anything destructive, but because without your cooperation, there was no show. And now the person who built the stage is standing in the middle of it, in the clown suit of their own making, wondering where the audience went. You didn't see that happening. You were just living your life, just making choices, just doing what felt true to you. But that's exactly what makes it so devastating to them. It wasn't even a calculated power move on your part. You just chose you. You just kept choosing you quietly, consistently. And that quiet consistency turned into something undeniable. And undeniable is the most powerful thing a person can be. So right now, in this season, go to the events, show up to the parties, walk into the rooms, let people see you, not to prove anything, not to rub it in, not because you've got some score to settle, but because you have earned the right to take up full space in your own life. And the world needs to see what it looks like when someone does that. The people who are meant to be in your story will feel the warmth of it. They do. And the people who build their comfort on your smallness, they will have to figure out how to cope. That's not your job to manage. You are not sad. You are not mad. You are not lost. You are thriving in the realest, most organic, most hard-earned way a person can thrive. And somebody out there can't stand it. Because it means everything they said was wrong. It means the story they told about you was a lie. And it means that you are exactly who you always were underneath everything they tried to put on you. Someone with taste, with power, with a presence that doesn't need permission. So yes, they are devastated. And you are just getting started. Love you.